Well, here we are. It's 14 days till lockup time. My scheduled incarceration date slash status of my purge. Surprised if anybody's still up. Brian Kenter, maybe some people on the West Coast. Yeah, Tina. And of course, Marina's got to sit over here by the fireplace where I can hear my own voice echoing 15 feet to the left of me. Man, it's been a tough couple days. As expected, I expected that I was going to have to eat crow and I was going to have to eat crow and take a little slice of humble pie, right? Because I've said on several occasions, I said out in Washington, D.C. that I'm not going to pay child support any longer. I did say that. And I've had to pay child support. I said I wasn't going to pay their extortion fees. And, I'm asking people to donate to help me to cover that cost. That was a hard pill to swallow, you know what I mean? Because I knew what I said. And I like to stand by what I say. I don't think many people understand that, number one, the part in question that they want to incarcerate me for is because I'm mandated by the court here because of the Illinois Dissolution of Marriage Act. The judge, utilizing judicial discretion, can say to you, okay, you're going to have to pay 50% of child care and 50% of extracurricular activities, which they did in my case. That allows them to get around the 28% guideline. So like for me having two young children here, the guideline, the child support chart is 28%. But then you add on the child care and the extracurricular activities, and that significantly increases how much child support has to be paid. That's what my contempt is for not reimbursing for child care that I've offered to do and not reimbursing for extracurricular activities that I have no say in whatsoever and that I can't afford. The child support I am paying and have been paying, I have no choice because it's garnished straight out of my check. So, am I still holding true to my word that I wouldn't pay child support anymore? To the extent possible, yes. To the extent possible, absolutely. And it's not an easy thing. I don't like asking for money. I don't. And I only did so because so many people asked me to and said, look, you're better served. You will do better for the movement being out of jail, not being behind bars, because behind bars, you're less of an asset to the movement behind bars. And it's kind of a catch-22. You have men like Neil Shelton, who's been incarcerated, 70-something times, I think. Yahya McClain, been incarcerated several times. Plenty of men and women have been incarcerated many, many times, and I don't fear incarceration. But I do also have to be wise enough to listen to wise counsel when that's being given to me. especially, when I'm not in a state of where I'm kind of hyped up, if you will, where I'm not running on emotion, I'm running on logic. And when I sit and I run on logic and I listen to my gut, which I tell people to do, I even, if my gut told me don't pay that purge amount, let them lock you up, that's exactly what I'm going to do. If that's what my gut tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do. Whether it makes sense or not to me. Um, I mean, it's not an easy position to be in any way, shape, or form. It's not an easy position to be in. It's not an easy position to be kind of in the public sphere, if you will, where people scrutinize you. And that's going to happen. You're going to receive a great deal of scrutiny and trolls and fake profiles. I had one guy fake profile, and he actually created the truth about Kash Jackson. This clown created this Facebook page, The Truth About Kash Jackson. I encourage you to leave him some comments, if you will. He's a coward. Apparently, he lives here in Chicago. I don't think so. I'm pretty certain it's a fake profile. I'm almost certain I know who it is. But nonetheless, the guy's a coward. So, yeah, Sonny, thanks for reporting his page. I reported him too. It really pisses me off that the guy has taken my profile picture with my children in it and put that on that page. But yeah, he's a troll, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to sweat that guy. What else? So, yeah, I told Sherry Palmer, you know what, go ahead and I guess, create it's like a GoFundMe, but it's through it's through a different one. But, people reach out and they want to help, you know what I mean? And I talked about this. A lot of people want to help and they don't have the ability to be here. They can't go to court with me. They haven't been able to go to rallies, things like that, and they want to help. And so many people have offered to say, hey, Cash, can I chip in $10? Can I chip in $20? And I know the feeling. I've been there. Where you can't, you feel helpless where you can't help somebody and you want to do what you can to try and help somebody out. I get that. I've been there. And I've helped people out like that where I couldn't physically be there. But if I could help them out a little financially, I did. And I've done that on a number of occasions. And I know that for me, it made me feel good that I could help somebody out. And for me not to allow other people that, I don't know, do you, don't you? I don't know. I mean, what do you do? I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to not be incarcerated. But I'm planning for worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is that on January 20th, they lock me up. And they lock me up because I haven't reimbursed again for childcare that I've offered to do. And I didn't reimburse for extracurricular activities that I had no say in. And that simply I couldn't afford, even if I did have a say in it. I couldn't have afforded it. I could have afforded, I don't know, something like Boy Scouts or something, but I can't, I can't afford $350 a month in extracurricular activities. Can't do it. And I don't know a lot of Americans that can. So, Yeah, Felicia, they don't include those in child support here. They set those out separately. If you look at the Illinois Dissolution of Marriage Act, that's how it's written. And it literally drives people into bankruptcy, which, I should file. I should file for bankruptcy. But I'm a little stubborn. I'm still trying to pay my debts the best that I can, and I get behind and I try and catch up, and I'm managing the best that I can, I guess. I could always do better. Um, but anyways, kind of on a side note, I know a lot of you guys saw what happened down in Chicago, where you had it really amounted to four black kids. It was three 18-year-olds, I think, and then one 24-year-old that took a white kid, essentially kidnapped him, held him hostage, and for lack of better terms, they tortured him, terrorized him, a mentally handicapped kid. Heartbreaking video to watch. It was heartbreaking to see the evil committed against fellow man. If you haven't watched that, I mean, it's a tough video to watch. And the poor kid is just terrified. I can only imagine the fear that that kid was feeling. And people rightfully are outraged about what happened to this guy. What's up, Big Brian Henson? Long time no talk, man. Brian Henson, I was RDC school instructor, and if you guys don't know what that means, it's you're a drill instructor, right, for the Navy. Brian Henson was one of my students. He was one of the future drill instructors that I trained back in 2010-ish, 11, somewhere in there. But anyways, good seeing you on here, Brian. But anyways, so back to what happened down there in Chicago. With those kids, and people want those that they really want them put in jail, persecuted. And I'm not saying that they don't warrant punishment, they do, but I also want people to take a step back and look at a much bigger picture. And I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but look at a much bigger picture in the context of the South Side of Chicago. Again, I'm not excusing the behavior. It was criminal. It was wrong. It amounted to a hate crime. But if you really take some time and look at the greater picture here, I've talked about this several times, that when you take fathers out of the picture on a large scale for a large duration, which what has happened with Chicago, the South Side of Chicago, South and West Sides, you take cities like that and suburbs, Detroit, New Orleans, these inner city urban areas that have had their families torn apart. You've had the mass incarceration of black males occurring for decades now. That's been occurring for decades now. You have entire communities where children are being reared with no father figure. The only father figure that they know oftentimes has been one of a very skewed sense of who their father is, because their father has been in and out of a prison system in an economically deprived community. And again, I'm this is a tough topic, right? Because I'm not trying to excuse criminal behavior, but we have to ask ourselves, what makes places like the South Side of Chicago different than other urban areas in our country? We got to ask ourselves that. Why do we have such a high crime rate in these areas? And it really begs the question of, what are the motivating and driving factors here? And it's my firm belief that because fathers have been removed on such a large scale due to mass incarceration, you've broken down the family unit. They encourage single motherhood for those individuals who need government assistance. They need TANF, temporary assistance for needy families. They need welfare. They can't even receive those welfare benefits for children that they have if there's a father living in the home. And it's not spelled out that way, but that's what it equates to. Because if there's more income in the home, and albeit it's going to be just enough, maybe not even for them to survive upon, but even so, that mother would not be able to receive government assistance for her children. The whole system is broken. And when you take and you really analyze the south side of Chicago and how long it's been in the state of affairs that it's been in, you really begin to understand that when you destroy a family unit and you remove a critical part of children's lives, you have set those children up for failure. A person doesn't need to look any further than Department of Justice prison statistics on prisoners who grew up in a fatherless home and see what a detriment that was and how it increases the risk for our youth, such as these that beat this young man, to act out aggressively, to abuse drugs, to join gangs, to commit violent crimes, to struggle with depression and suicide. This is what happens. And yes, those 4 individuals need an answer for what they did to that young man. Should they spend the rest of their lives in prison or some absurd amount of time in our prison systems that are so broken that when they come out 5, 6, 10 years down the road, that they're going to be 10 times worse? Because our prison systems, they don't rehabilitate. They don't deter crime. If the prison systems and the threat of incarceration deterred crime, we wouldn't have over 600 murders this year in Chicago, would we? We wouldn't have the murder rate and the crime rate with that we have in this country if our prison systems worked. Why are our prison systems growing while crime overall, especially violent crime, has been shrinking in this country? If you look at long-term statistics, violent crime in this country has been shrinking. So why are our prisons growing? That we have so many people that are incarcerated that aren't a threat to society, such as myself. I'm looking at incarceration, and the only threat that I pose to society isn't society, it's to government and corporations for me airing out their dirty laundry. But our prisons are training grounds for lifelong criminals. They're training grounds. Our prison system in this country has to be revamped. Our family law system has to be revamped. We must really be honest and say, look, economically deprived and poorly educated areas are going to have greater rates of crime and drug abuse and everything else. And then we got to figure out how to fix that. But a large part of fixing what's occurring in our country is to not continue to allow the media, politicians and our government to divide us based upon our skin color or our sexual orientation or our religion. The hate in those young people's heart that drove them to do what they did to that young man down in Chicago, the media is responsible for that. The family law broken system is responsible for that. I would love to know, if any of you guys can find out, I would love to know of those four what the structure of their home is in regards to their mother and their father. You guys find out, look at that. Take a look at it. You're probably going to be surprised, or you might not be surprised at what it looks like. No, I'm not Debbie Downer on everything. I'm trying to be quiet, Keith, because my kids are sleeping. It's after 11 o'clock at night. Oh, are you talking to Nate? I thought you were talking to me, man. I don't know if you're talking to me or Nate. Anyways, so yeah, it's a good chance that their fathers weren't in the home. And there's probably an even better chance that their fathers are incarcerated or have been in and out of prison. We have a lot of changes that we have to make in our country, but it starts with us. It starts with you saying, you know what happened in Chicago makes me angry. Seeing what those kids did to that other kid, that makes me angry that they did that to him. But what makes me even angrier is that we have an irresponsible media and legislators and politicians that spend their time. Yeah, I've proven I can avoid cursing when my kids are around. Thank you, Annie, for noticing. Yeah, my kids are sleeping, and I have a small house, so I'm trying to be quiet. Yeah. But we have an irresponsible media and politicians that play on our differences and not uniting us based on our similarities, on our commonalities as citizens in this country. It starts with us recognizing that the person sitting across from you that has a different viewpoint isn't a bad person. They're just different. That's it. They're not bad people. But when we allow the media to sensationalize these politicians and all these controversial issues in our country, they sensationalize that, painting the other side to be evil, you know. I mean, let's be honest, those black kids believe that white people are evil, that they're the KKK, you know, that that the KKK has millions of followings in this country. And that's simply not the truth. You know what I mean? But as the media would portray it, and as their society and probably their inner circles portray it, you know, they're mad, they're angry, they're lashing out. And they don't understand the root of their suffering. You know, these young kids, they don't understand the root of their suffering. In fact, many adults don't understand the roots of the suffering. They just know they're hurting, and they're lashing out in every way possible. When we hurt, we naturally, when we're hurting, our natural instinct is to hurt someone else. You know what I mean? So if I feel wrong to hurt, you know, like this guy, this troll who's been trolling, you know, who created this fake page, The Truth About Kash Jackson, and is saying these, derogatory things about me, you know, I lashed out at the guy or girl, if it's a girl with a fake page, I don't know. But I lashed out at him. It's our natural instinct to do that. Now, I'm not going to do something, you know, I'll cuss somebody out with quickness. You know what I mean? And if I'm threatened, if I'm physically threatened, I'll defend myself. Or if my family's threatened, I'll defend my family. But I'm not going to go out of my way to harm somebody or to even attack them. You know what I mean? Even if I don't agree with them or like what they're saying, I'm not going to go out of my way to say all these real horrible, nasty things about them. Well, and it's yeah, I agree, not feeding the trolls, but I also do believe that sometimes people have to be put back in their place. Marina's found a huge spider apparently over here in the corner. She's going to do the big girl thing and pick that thing up and put it in the fireplace. Put it outside. Don't hurt the poor spider. It has a right to live.
I'd rather have death by fire than death by freezing.
Well, you don't need to kill that poor spider. He's good. Any- See, Jonathan Ames just said spiders are sacred.
He won't move though. I tried to move him out.
Well, don't move him. It's cold. So I guess that's all I got for tonight. Yeah, we're not gonna hurt the spider.
No.
We'll let the spider chill out over here. It's cold here. Yeah, Sonny. I'm really not happy with that guy using my family profile picture on that page. Thanks, Shannon. I'm praying for your mom, Shannon. Praying for you too. I hope you guys are in my prayers, definitely. So I hope you're feeling better. But Anna said, bring your pets inside, Marina.
What?
Anna said for you to bring your pets inside.
He's sleeping in my bed right
What I think I addressed everything that was kind of weighing on me. I guess maybe the last thing I'll say, and I know I kind of drone on and on, but I guess the last thing I'll say is that I don't think that I've taken enough personal time to recognize a lot of other people's efforts in this movement, in the family law reform movement. And, I mean, you could kind of cut that a couple different ways,
now.
You could say, well, those people just want their ego stroked. People have said that to me. But I think it is good to recognize people that have done a lot of great things within the movement and are doing great things. And sometimes we don't do that. We get so caught up with what we're doing that we forget about. I don't want to say we forget about, but we just get to running down this track and forget to recognize a lot of good men and women doing great things all across this country. And there's just so many to list. And I have a huge support team, a lot of family and friends that help me doing what I'm doing, building, restoring freedom. It's exhausting. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is exhausting. I'm on the phone and messaging, 6, 8, 10 hours a day. It would be nice to get paid for it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It would be nice to have a livelihood trying to change the country. That would be nice, but that's not the case right now. That might change in the future, So, I mean, if I can get paid to do what I love and what I'm enjoying, I'm not going to feel bad about that. I mean, if I would feel good, to be able to sustain my livelihood and to impact and change the country for the better. I wouldn't feel bad about that at all. But there's so many people who are doing awesome things. If you guys don't know Yahya McClain, Yahya McClain's doing a documentary, and he needs help raising money so that he can do the post-production on the documentary. I've shared his stuff before. Uh, Super important to support guys like Yaya financially and otherwise that um, have talents and skills to reach so many more people and educate them as to the sheer destructiveness of things like family law in this country. Guys like John Bolenball um, over in Michigan, who's exposing the oil industry and how they are covering those up. People's stories like Neil Shelton. They were making a movie about Neil growing up Mayberry. To my knowledge, that's still an ongoing thing, I think. And but Neil was, you know, went through one of the most atrocious cases a person could go through. He was arrested, I think, over 70 something times. Was homeless, was just, utterly decimated by the family court system. I met another gentleman in California who was a millionaire, had been a millionaire in the family law system and made him homeless. Now he's living on his brother's couch. Guys like Carlos Rivera and Christy Beck and Brian Lee and the people over at Child Support Hustle running their radio programs, and Brian Kinter and the Judicial Accountability Movement. Thomas Fiddler and the Fathers' Rights Movement were incredible support system for me early on in my own case. And, the men and women running parental alienation and, CJ Abernathy over in Podunk, South Dakota. He's always getting stuff out there and talking and speaking and, educating people. And CJ's abrasive. He can come across, he's a huge pain in the ass. He's an abrasive dude. But I love the guy. He's got a sincere heart, and he hasn't seen or talked to his daughter in an unbelievable amount of time. That guy's hurting like so many other people. Yeah, Tina, there's a ton of women out there that are doing phenomenal things. Tina on here right now. My friend Leanne Red Owl down in South Dakota, and Ken Forecloud. These guys all doing stuff out in Standing Rock and raising awareness out there. And people like Shannon Baskin, we got Kirsten Smoke down here in Southern Illinois, and there's strong women out there. There's strong men out there. I've got a huge team that are helping me. Alan Carter and Ariana Jordan and Chris Hallett and Christine and Brian up in Oregon and Felicia and Liz. I mean, I've got a bunch of people that are helping with this, and I know we don't get the recognition that we all, I get a lot of recognition. I do, probably more so than what I need or deserve. And I try and stay humble about that because I get inundated with messages and phone calls and text, and that people appreciate what I do. And that's why I keep doing what I'm doing, is that, people know it needs to be done. And that's why I keep at it. I know it's a mission that needs to be done and needs to be accomplished, and I'm going to keep at it. But there are so many other people besides me, that are doing amazing things around this country. They're working, dusk to dawn to dusk again, and they sleep very little. And they literally just, this is their life, and they get paid nothing for it. Nothing. And all they want is to change our country for the better. That's literally all they want. For our children to be safeguarded and not exploited. for our environment to be safeguarded and not exploited. We want a better world, and we deserve that. We deserve a much better country than what we're being given. Um, and I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to keep doing that. And until I feel as though, my time is up and I'm done. Oh yeah, Keith, I know Brian Kinter very well. Brian Kinter's a man that I love dearly, and he's a mentor of mine. So Brian is very charismatic. If you guys never watch Brian Kinter's videos, you will learn a lot. I don't hold a candle to the knowledge and wisdom that Brian Kinter and guys like Chris Hallett, that these guys have. Psh, phenomenal. You really want to learn something, listen to some of these guys. So, well, I guess here in about maybe I should just stay online because in 15 minutes I'll be at my 13-day mark from my scheduled lockup day, and I could just knock out day number 13 with this one. My good buddy, if you guys don't know Jonathan Ames, he's on here right now, chiming in. Super smart guy, very humble, and has been very patient and teaching me a great deal. And I've made some mistakes, even with some material that he taught me, my teacher there. And I've had to try and correct that. But Jonathan Ames, really smart guy. My good buddy Johnny Panko here. Becky, and there's so many great people that I've came in contact with. Again, you guys are doing amazing things, and it makes me extremely proud to be associated with every one of you. Extremely proud to stand alongside you guys, and I could not do that without the support of my family, Marina and Mama Jackson here, and my children. They're very supportive. My son Colby down in North Carolina, he knows his dad's in a pickle, and my son Colby gives me a lot of grace, a lot of grace. And yeah, I guess maybe I've rambled on long enough. So I love all you guys. I love my family dearly. Wherever you guys are all at, you guys sleep good tonight. And I'm going to go get a little rest. And have a good day tomorrow with my children. Nathan, I don't know what you're talking about, man. So I'll go back and I'll read these comments tomorrow. I always love going back and reading your guys' comments because I miss a lot. And some of the people that I mentioned, if you don't know them, send them a friend request. Get to know them, learn something about what they do, and learn a little bit more today so that tomorrow you can apply that and teach somebody else. That's what I try and do anyhow. Justin, I'm glad you got your daughter with you tonight, man. That's awesome. Makes me feel good that I got my kids here and they're asleep in their beds, and makes me feel really good. And my great friend out there in South Dakota, Ken Forecloud, he's on here. If you guys don't know Ken Forecloud, send that guy a message. He's got a huge heart, amazing man, and super proud to know him and call him brother. Blake, I did see that you had your boys on New Year's. That's it really warms my heart and my spirit, man. Every time I see and I get messages from you guys about even when there's little small successes, when I hear those and I see those, it inspires me a little bit more. It ignites a little bit more fire into me to keep fighting, to keep doing what I'm doing. And I don't have all the answers. You know, I've readily admitted that many times over. I don't have them all. Um, so I'm just going to keep doing what I can. And Keith, we're gonna keep fighting, man. You know, we're gonna keep fighting for you, for Johnny Pinko, um, Corinne. How you doing, Corinne? Uh, we're gonna keep fighting for all you guys. You know, you all deserve it. Your kids deserve it. And Nathan, it was my pleasure, man, to do that for you and your son, man. Um, Jonathan Ames boy going to go to Northern or got a scholarship or full ride scholarship to Northern Arizona University to play football. That's fantastic, man. Congratulations to him. So, yeah, you know, I'm a little tired. You guys always tell me that. Cash, you need to get some sleep. You look tired. I, I go hard in the paint, man. I go hard in the paint. So if it takes me a while to get back to you, sending you guys messages, whatever, please forgive me. Please, please, please forgive me. Because literally my Facebook Messenger is just, I mean, if you message me tonight, um, tomorrow morning, it's going to be 20 messages deep before I even wake up. And I try and go back and find all the unread ones. And man, I need like two personal secretaries here to help me to remember everything that I'm supposed to get back to. So, doing the best that I can. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. I'm getting off here. I know Brian Kenter's going to yell at me. Gosh, you need to shorten your videos. So funny, Brian tells me to shorten my videos so he can watch them all. And I go back and watch one of his, and it's like 40 something minutes. I'm like, Brian, I love that guy, though. All right. You guys have a great night. I'm leaving my Christmas tree up till July just because I can. So, good night, guys. It's been a blessing to sit here and talk with y'all this evening.